In the aftermath of the Night King's attack on Eastwatch, Tormund and Gendry are able to flee the scene. Beric Dondarrion stays behind to fight the White Walkers. Night King attacks Castle Black and Viserion starts killing crows. Edison Tollett is killed by a White Walker. Beric kills that White Walker and supposedly dies later. Tormund and Gendry ride for Winterfell as blue flames engulf Castle Black in the background. In the second scene, Daenerys, Jon, Tyrion, Davos, Jorah, Brienne, Podrick, Hound, and Varys arrive in Winterfell. Davos remarks that it has gotten much colder and darker since he left with Jon. Jon and Arya are first reunited. Daenerys meets Sansa and Sansa asks whether she and Jon are in love now. Daenerys doesn't give a proper response to that. Sansa doesn't seem too pleased with Jon returning to Winterfell in Daenerys' presence. Jon notices this and chats with her. She mentions Littlefinger's death and how he betrayed them right under their nose. She says it is plain stupid to work together with Cersei Lannister. The Hound and Arya also have a conversation with each other. Arya tells the Hound she didn't regret to leave him behind without killing him. The Hound answers that Arya should have killed him right there, especially with the things he has seen beyond the wall. Euron Greyjoy arrives back in King's Landing with the Golden Company and meets up with Cersei Lannister and the commanders of the Golden Company in the Great Hall. Cersei thanks Euron for having the sellswords shipped to King's Landing. She then orders the commanders to take Storm's End and to have the army gathered in the fortress. Robert Baratheon once told her that the fortress has stood for many centuries, and she's sure that it will keep standing during the long night as well. Later that night, Euron Greyjoy is about to have sex with Cersei. Euron jokes that she won't miss her brother after she finds out what he can give her. Cersei's face says enough. She isn't too pleased with Euron in her bed. The following morning Euron leaves with his ship the Silence to transport the sellswords to Storm's End. After he comes back, he tells Cersei he wants to be her king. Inside the Silence, Euron has a conversation with Yara Greyjoy about Cersei. Yara tells him that she knows he isn't interested in being Cersei's husband at all. Euron laughs and tells her that his good friends from Braavos will take care of that problem soon enough. Actually, when he was in Essos, he hired the Faceless Men to kill Cersei for him. In Winterfell, Daenerys, Jon, Sansa, Tyrion, Davos, Sam, Varys, the Northern Lords and the Knights of the Vale gather in the Great Hall. Sam reunites with Jon and the two share a hug. Jon tells Sam that he's glad to have him back. The Northern Lords aren't too pleased to accept Daenerys as their queen. Daenerys defends herself very well, but she doesn't get the support of the North just yet. Lyanna Mormont tells Daenerys that she will never call her Your Grace, because she only knows one king, and that's Jon Snow, the king in the North. Tyrion smiles and mentions that she's a ferocious girl, on which Jorah replies that Mormonts don't stand back for anything. Jon tells them there's no time to argue with each other, and brings up that there hasn't been a word from the Lannister army yet. Sansa responds that she warned them not to trust Cersei Lannister. Tyrion mentions that they can trust his brother Jaime, but Daenerys doesn't seem to agree on this one. The group discusses how they will defend the North against the Night King's army. Jon tells Yohn Royce that it would be wise to lure the Night King in the area. Yohn Royce agrees. After the meeting, Daenerys tells Jon that the Northerners really are stubborn and small-minded people. In another scene, Jon observes Arya as she and Brienne train. Jon is impressed by his sister's fighting skills. Arya tells him that she has never forgotten to stick her enemies with the pointy end. He asks Arya why she didn't join the meeting in the Great Hall of Winterfell. Arya answers that Sansa is way better in those things than she is. In Volantis, Lady Melisandre enters the Red Temple. She's again welcomed by Kinvara. Melisandre tells Kinvara that she's played her part in the Great War to come. She has united ice and fire. She has served King Jon Snow, the prince who was promised, and brought him back to life. Kinvara tells Melisandre that she served their god well on that part, but she has also made a lot of mistakes, and she needs to pay for them. She tells Melisandre that their god demands one more sacrifice from her, which requires her to return to the North. Melisandre answers that she isn't allowed to enter the North. Kinvara smiles and answers Melisandre that she could benefit from her punishment then. Back in Westeros, we see Jaime Lannister at an inn when he meets with Bronn. Jaime's surprised to see Bronn and asks him that why he's followed him. Bronn answers that there's nothing left for him in that stinking city and he's up for some adventure in the north. Jaime is glad to have Bronn by his side. Bronn asks Jaime why he has left the woman he loves the most, but Jaime doesn't respond to his question. He then asks what he's planning to do now. Jaime tells Bronn that he's on his way to River Run to bring the garrison Lannister army back to the fold. Bronn asks him why he would give up the castle he has been occupying. Jaime says he has nothing to gain from the castle. For all he cares, Lord Edmure can have River Run back. Tormund and Gendry arrive in Winterfell. Jon asks Sansa why Bran didn't take the time to join the meeting in the Great Hall and didn't even come to speak to him. Sansa tells him that Bran has changed a lot and calls himself the Three-Eyed Raven now. She tells him not to expect much of a conversation with him. Samwell comes in between and tells Jon there's something he and Bran urgently needs to tell him. Bran first sees Jon in the Godswood when he's looking into the past. Jon mentions that he has encountered a warg beyond the wall. Sam responds that Bran is much more than a warg, he's a greenseer. The two inform Jon Snow about his parentage, which Jon doesn't seem to believe at first. Bran tells Jon he knows everything about him. He saw him beyond the wall, surrounded by free folk. He saw him fighting at Hardhome against the Night King, and he saw how he was stabbed to death by his own men. Jon can't really believe he's a Targaryen. Sam tells him that he's the one with the right claim to the Iron Throne, not Daenerys Targaryen, and the episode ends. To receive leaks of the next season 8 episodes in your newsfeed, hit the subscribe button below. If you like this video, please share it.